Take us
Okay.
away here, sweetie.
Need to
Thank
share
you so
screen.
much.
Share screen.
Yeah, you can do it. You can share your screen. I've connected that for you. Ready?
Okay. All right. You can hear me okay? You can see my screen, everybody?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Let's see. Let me make sure I can make this all work. All right. Good afternoon, and thank you, Natasha, for allowing me to be able to present to everyone today, Clutter Corrections by Corliss. Question: are you organized, disorganized, just not sure? Frankly, don't care. Today, we're going to talk all about organizing. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Southern California. I have one brother, born into a military family. I had a great childhood, educated, married, and I have two sons. In 1999, our family moved to Maryland, and I have been a healthcare professional for the last 28 years, radiology to be exact, as a technologist in management, regional corporate director for a large healthcare organization. I've also been, and I'm also an entrepreneur. Not only do I own the business, Clutter Corrections by Corliss, as a professional organizer, I'm also a real estate investor, a realtor, licensed in DC and Maryland. Clutter Corrections is twofold. I established this business in 2008, but life situations occurred. And from 2008 to 2019, after over 25 years of marriage, the relationship was dissolved. I quickly had to gather my thoughts, stay focused, stay organized, and keep it moving. I have a son with autism, my youngest son. And all I cared about at that point in life was making sure that he got a high school diploma. So my life was focused yet around him and keeping us and our lives together. Well, that did happen. He got a high school diploma and has moved on with his life. Another pivotal moment in my life came in 2019 when I was laid off. Never had that ever happen in my career ever. But I knew at that time it was time to jump. At that point, the rebirth of Clutter Corrections by Corliss came about. My tagline was not difficult to define because I had lived that life: rearrange, renew, live well. Why professional organizing? Professional organizing has been part of my life all of my life. It has always been my passion. It lies deep within me, and all I've ever wanted to do is make everything perfect. Well, in reality, everything isn't really perfect. I just wanted to make it neat and organized. As a young child, I had carte blanche to doing whatever I wanted with regard to organizing. I organized my friends' house. I helped my friends out with chores. Their families and their parents quickly knew that they did not do that particular chore because they knew how their children were. And I loved being around families that had lots of kids because there was just me and my brother who was 6 years older than me. So he may as well have been an only child. But I would help my friends out and get their chores done because my life was all about play. Back then, we could actually play after school. So I would help them get their chores done very quickly, and so we can get out and do what we needed to do. In the classroom, a lot of times I would help my teachers organize when the rest of the kids wanted to be out to play, and it may have been on a day I really didn't care about anything. So that could happen too, and sometimes I stayed after school. What one sees as chaos and unattainable, I see as fun and can't wait to get there and make it beautiful. I love turning ugly into pretty. Clutter. Many people struggle with clutter. Why? Some reasons. From their youth, some people were never taught. They were never taught to organize. Some people were taught, but they see no value in it, so they just don't do it. Some people learned it and they use it intermittently. It's in their life and then it's off in their life, etc. Some people learned it, they used it, and then their life fell apart and they just couldn't get back. They just couldn't get it back. Others have learning disabilities. And with learning disabilities, a lot of times individuals have challenges with organizing. I told you about my two sons. One son could organize his room and his area very quickly with no problem. But there was my other younger son. He just didn't see the world that way. And I had to learn that he didn't see the world that way and to help him. So oftentimes every 9 to 6 months I would take his desk and I would dump everything out of it and have him go through it and tell me what he wanted to keep, other things he had to categorize, and then he put it all back in his desk until the next decluttering session. So we made it work, and that's been a life skill for him, and it did help him, and it's helped him now into his adult life. The term clutter is different for everyone. We can judge, we can look and we can think that people understand what clutter is, but we should not judge because that's not true. Everybody doesn't see clutter the same way. You can walk into a room and see the whole room is filled from wall to wall with things that are tidy. But to somebody else, that whole room can look cluttered because they can't see enough clear space. They can't see enough wall space. And to them, it's cluttered. You can have a person who has a desk full of papers. And as long as the papers are 1 foot deep and everything's in its place, they think it's uncluttered. But as soon as it gets to be 2 feet deep, they think it's cluttered. Go figure. But nonetheless, organization is not perfection. Organization gives everything a home, keeping things in their place. Think about it. You don't go to somebody else's home and live. So why would you have your things live in some other place's home? For instance, your nightstand usually has a lamp and maybe a telephone and maybe the remote control. But you decide to set your hat there and your keys there. Well, the keys don't belong there, and the hat don't belong there, and the other things that belong there don't like those other things there to begin with. So think about it. You don't want things in your space, and they don't want things in their space. So we really sometimes, if you think about your things as humans, they don't want to be bothered with other things in their space either. Everything has a home. How does clutter show up? Our brains like order. When there's cognitive overload, it becomes difficult for us to focus and lack of memory can set in. Clutter tells the brain that the work is never done. It shows up mentally and physically. Here's some examples. Mentally, it can show up giving us high anxiety and difficult to relax. Physically, there are things everywhere. There's no home for them, and they make us feel like everything's just everywhere. Sleep patterns can be thrown off. Mentally, our thoughts of how we sleep, our sleep patterns can be thrown off because again, our brain knows that our work is never done. There's clothes everywhere, the brain can't shut down. There's multiple things everywhere because we couldn't find one, so we went out and bought some more. In our minds, we think we need more space. We need a larger home. We need to go out and get a storage unit. We need some more storage bins. We're running out of living space. We got to get something bigger. We believe it's a problem because we can't find things. We buy more things of the same things over and over and over again. There's chaos. The chaos starts to get to us. It looks like we have too much to tackle. It's overwhelming and we just don't completely just don't want to be bothered. But in reality, we're wasting time, money, and energy. How do I work with clients? Customers who are ready for change. Those are the best clients because they really want to make a change. They just don't know how. They are usually committed. They want their lives back. They will often trust me, but they're scared. Is that lady going to throw away everything I have? I don't want her throwing away all my stuff. Well, trust me, I don't throw it all away. Not at all. I practice non judgmental in the non judgmental zone. I'm here to help the individual function better in their space. I have a process that I start off with. It's clothing, then books, then paper, then tchotchkes, then sentimentals. I help people understand the importance of everything having what? I can't hear you. Everything having a home. Okay, so I go in, I'll do an assessment of the home or the office, wherever I'm going to be working in a non judgmental manner. I set up a step by step plan. It's tailor made to cater to the client or their family. No cookie cutter. Everybody is different, and I work with everybody in that manner. Again, everything has a home. Just in case. These are words we need to remove from our vocabulary. Just in case. We only have a few just in cases in our life that we really need to have. Other than that, all those other just in cases that you're buying need to stay in the store. And if you have them in your home during COVID, use them up and don't buy any more. We only have a few just in case. Okay? And reserve those to probably about 5 things in your entire life. I use available resources that one would have in their home. Buying storage bins and um, there we go. Buying storage bins and thinking that you'll need to have those before the organizer comes in. I can tell you right now, storage bins I enjoy, but I can tell you that if you have them, a lot of them will be stacked up in a corner by the time we get finished. So you won't need to buy any more before we get started. And the ones that you have, you'll probably either be giving away or we'll find some use for a few of them, but that's about it. We'll have multiple sessions. I do give a little bit of homework. Shh, don't tell everybody that part, but you will get a little bit of homework. Then we get to work because again, everything what has a home.
So,
All right. So I want to tell you a little quick story. I had a client up in Baltimore and they called me and said, "Oh, I would like for you to come up and help me and my partner out because our relationship is on a little bit on the brinks and we really need to have this done and she has too many things and I went out and I bought this extra storage and I want you to come in and get us all straightened out." So I said, "No problem." Well, when I get there, I find out the person that called me was the one who actually had all of the things that they really wanted to have organized, but they sort of blamed it on the partner. And this wasn't only one time, I've had this happen several times. So when I work with the clients, we get a big kick out of that and just have a really good time and move on about our business. So we got down to the bare bones of this organizing project. It was a full home organization. This is my favorite part. This is what I love. When I see all this, I get happy because I know where we're going. The clients go crazy, but I know where we're headed. And then we're back to something that looks like this. Services. I offer full home organizing is the best. Um, I do I do provide space organizing, but in space organizing, unless you're renting a room, everything in your house belongs in some other place other than just in that little space that you want organized. So full home organizing is generally the best. I offer also office organizing and move in, move outs, light packing. Um, I provide a process in place to help the client be able to maintain this area. We stay focused, and I am about quality, and I am not finished with what I need to do until the client is happy. One of the things I'll tell you that I don't like is coffee. If I drank coffee and came to work with a client, I'd be peeing off the walls. I don't like coffee, thank God, and I don't drink it. So they don't even offer it to me. Virtual organizing is something else I do, virtual and remote organizing, especially during this time of COVID. I had a couple of parents call me from Georgetown University. They sent their children came home for Easter vacation or spring break. And then, we were basically shut down in Maryland in March. So I got these frantic phone calls. They asked me to go into their dorms and clean them out, package up everything, and ship it to their homes. So I did that to California and Colorado. The families were very grateful that they didn't have to come here. So that was great. Had another situation where, again, with COVID over the summer, there was a family that Patricia, who's on the call today, was caregiver to help out with the family. And the father passed away. The sons were living out of the state, and the wife has dementia, and she also lived out of state. So they called me and asked me if I could go in and completely clean out their entire home and do what I needed to do with the contents. I called Wider Circle. Pam was a good facilitator there, and got a lot of their items donated to Wider Circle, to different areas. We weren't able to do an estate sale because of COVID, but we were able to distribute all the things. And then I also packed up and shipped multiple things to the family members, including the mother who got a rocking chair. Factors to consider when you're thinking of hiring an organizer: two things. You think of price, you think of how long. Those items are going to depend on the size of the area that's being organized, how much stuff there is to organize, and how swift one can make a decision about those things um, that they need to get rid of, and how committed one is. I should have given you that slide earlier. All right. So, um, where am I? Okay. And so basically, I can work with anyone when it comes to organizing. I just need to know that the person is committed for change. So, in closing, I want you to remember that organizing is not perfection, but it is giving everything what? A home. So I want to thank Natasha for this time today, and we'll talk a little bit more about what I have to offer everyone with regard to a future virtualized organizing session, which will be free. And I'd like to know, are there any questions? I'm going to open this back up. One other thing, this is a photo of what it looks like for everybody on a day after organizing with Corliss from Clutter Corrections by Corliss. I want to thank you all for your time. Natasha.
Awesome. Can you stop the share, Corliss, please? Thank you.
I'm going to do my